The movie opens in the dangerous slums of Washington, D.C., where violence, drugs, and fear rule daily life. At the center of this chaos is Lucas, a 14-year-old boy already deep into the streets. With his worn-out bike and serious gaze, Lucas works as a drug runner for the Latin Kings, one of the gangs controlling the city block by block. As he weaves through narrow alleys, Lucas talks about how fear controls everything around him. He knows the rules, who holds the power, and which places are off-limits. The man running the show is Jester, Rincone's right-hand man, a name spoken only in whispers. He is the street boss who handles deals and punishes mistakes without mercy. During his deliveries, Lucas often talks with locals. Their conversations always return to the mysterious big boss of the Latin Kings. No one ever sees him, and no one dares to ask questions. Everyone answers to Jester, except for Lucas. That's because Lucas has a special connection. He's allowed to meet the big boss whenever he wants. His name is Rincone, the untouchable gang leader. Ruthless and feared by all, Rincone built his empire through violence and intimidation. Lucas once witnessed the brutal fate of someone who betrayed Rincone. That moment taught him loyalty isn't a choice, it's the only way to survive. This is We Die Young.
We die young.
Day after day, Lucas rides through the tangled streets carrying drug packs in his bag. One place he always stops at is Daniel's house, a regular customer with a heavy past. Daniel is a war veteran from Afghanistan, broken and quiet, living with pain and medicine. He rarely speaks, instead communicating through typed messages. Each time Lucas visits, Daniel sends the same message: get out. Leave the gang, return to school, live like a normal kid. But Lucas just shrugs and keeps riding. Meanwhile, outside his own home, Rincone stretches casually while keeping an eye on a suspicious car parked nearby. He's certain the FBI is watching him. Without making a scene, he goes back inside and tells his younger sister to get ready. Her wedding is that evening, and Rincone wants everything to be perfect. After finishing up at Daniel's place, Lucas rides over to Carlos's shop. Carlos still owes money from past drug deals, but times are tough. His fruit stand is barely hanging on, and his wife's illness forced him to close the shop temporarily. Feeling desperate, Carlos asks Lucas for more time to pay back. To make peace, he hands Lucas a bag of fruit for him and Miguel. Lucas agrees to give him one more week, but warns that if Rincone finds out, there will be serious trouble. Meanwhile, back at Rincone's house, a pastor arrives with Rincone's cousin to discuss wedding plans. The pastor suggests holding the blessing at a church for a more formal touch, but Rincone immediately refuses. He says it's too risky, so they settle on having the ceremony at Rincone's home instead. At the same time, Lucas stops by the usual hangout spot where Rincone's couriers gather. To his surprise, his younger brother Miguel is already hanging out with the gang. Miguel grins proudly and declares he's officially part of the crew, eager to start running drugs like Lucas. Lucas isn't happy about it. He snaps at Miguel, telling him to focus on school and quit this dangerous life. A few minutes later, Lucas walks Miguel to school, watches him go inside, and promises to pick him up at 3 p.m. for practice. Elsewhere in the city, Daniel leaves a store and bumps into a man who offers some friendly advice to cut back on sugar and try vegetarian food for better health. Daniel doesn't respond, simply hands over a bill and walks away. Soon after, Daniel heads to a food truck. Since he can't speak, he types his order on his phone, slowing down the line behind him. As the vendor starts cooking, Daniel suddenly freezes. Something about the smell or the place triggers a painful memory. People in line grow impatient, but Daniel remains lost in thought. That's when a group of thugs shows up and starts provoking Daniel. He avoids eye contact and slips into a nearby alley. There, he quickly takes one of the calming pills Lucas gave him. But the gang follows, assuming Daniel is an easy target. They couldn't be more wrong. Daniel fights back with the skill of a trained soldier, taking down each attacker swiftly and powerfully. His hidden past as a fighter is clear. Meanwhile, at Rincone's house, preparations for his sister's wedding are in full swing. Despite Rincone's violent reputation, he shows a softer side when it comes to family. He's determined to make the day perfect for his sister. The groom arrives with his family, clearly nervous, and no one seems fully comfortable around Rincone's intense presence. As the wedding plans move forward, Lucas arrives carrying the money he collected from his deliveries. Unlike the other couriers, Lucas has earned Rincone's trust. Rincone sees him as more than just a street kid. He treats Lucas like family. That bond goes back to a painful memory. Years ago, Lucas's older brother, a special forces soldier, died trying to pull Lucas out of the gang life. Rincone never forgot that sacrifice, which is why Lucas holds a special place in his world. Walking through the house, Lucas greets familiar gang members and pauses to see Rincone's sister getting her makeup done. Then he heads into the main room, where Rincon is with the groom's family. Rincon welcomes Lucas warmly and politely asks the others to leave, giving them privacy. Once alone, Rincon speaks to Lucas like an older brother. He hands him a suit and asks him to wear it for the wedding party later. Rincon opens up briefly, sharing how much his sister means to him, especially because of her special condition. Soon after, Rincon gives Lucas an important task: deliver 2 large packages to a contact near the gas station. This isn't an ordinary delivery. Rincon stresses that Lucas must finish quickly and be back before the party begins. At that moment, Jester bursts into the room, shouting in anger. He drags in a man who owes Rincon money and starts beating him severely. What began as a warning quickly turns violent. After the beating, Jester throws the man out and stands there, seething with rage. After the chaos, Rincon tells Lucas to handle the delivery, but Jester doesn't hide his anger. He questions why a kid like Lucas got such a big job instead of him. Rincon's answer is clear. The FBI is watching, and Lucas flies under their radar. Jester is too risky. Meanwhile, across town, Daniel faces another difficult day at work. To keep going, he takes one of the pills Lucas gave him, pushing through the pain to keep working. Back on his route, Lucas suddenly freezes when he spots a group of gang members beating up Miguel. It's a gang initiation set up by Jester. Furious, Lucas steps in and orders them to stop, making it clear he's connected to Rincon. He tells them he's on an urgent mission and needs to get to the gas station quickly. That's enough to make the gang back off. Meanwhile, Daniel is driving when he notices a familiar man lying lifeless on the sidewalk, surrounded by police. He hesitates for a moment, but then quietly drives away. Shortly after, Daniel spots Lucas and Miguel riding a bike together. He tries to get their attention, maybe to warn them, but Lucas doesn't stop. He stays focused on getting Miguel home safely. Lucas plans to drop Miguel off at school, but first swings by their house. As they ride, his mind races that he's more determined than ever to keep Miguel away from this dangerous life. The streets are no place for a kid like him. At home, Lucas quickly packs his bag. He grabs a gun and slips a letter inside. In the rush, one of the drug packages falls to the floor without him noticing. Just as they're about to leave, Jester and his crew burst in. Furious that Lucas hasn't finished the delivery, they force both brothers to come with them to see Rincon. On the way to Rincon's, Jester's crew starts roughing up Lucas. Suddenly, a nearby pickup truck crashes, causing chaos in the street. Taking advantage of the confusion, Lucas grabs Miguel and bolts. They sprint through tight alleys, cross backyards, jump fences, and crash through fruit stand. Just as they're running out of places to hide, Daniel drives by. He opens the door and tells them to get in. Without hesitation, the boys jump in and duck down. Jester's crew spots their escape and chases after them on bikes. What follows is a tense ride through the narrow streets of DC. Bullets fly. In the chaos, a stray bullet hits the family dog, which is Miguel's younger sister's favorite pet. Daniel drives skillfully, dodging bullets and weaving around corners. In the end, he crashes the car into a wall to give Lucas and Miguel time to run. They take off, unaware that one of Lucas's drug packages was left behind in the wrecked car. Daniel leads them to a hidden spot to catch their breath. While Miguel's foot is bandaged, Daniel and Lucas share a brief moment using hand signs and messages typed on a phone. It's not much, but it's enough to show Daniel still cares and has their backs. Meanwhile, at the wedding, Rincon watches his sister's ceremony with a smile. The party is quiet, but everyone seems happy. Suddenly, Lucas realizes he only has one package left. Putting the pieces together, he knows he must have dropped the other one at home earlier while rushing. Now, the car and the missing package are gone. Just then, Jester bursts into the wedding, reporting the failed delivery, the escape, and the lost drugs. Rincon flies into a rage and orders his men to find Lucas and Miguel immediately. He makes one thing clear: they must be brought back alive. Meanwhile, Daniel urges Lucas to leave town for a while, to lay low until the heat dies down. But Lucas refuses. In anger, he throws Daniel's phone across the room and tells him to stay out of it. Without wasting any time, Lucas bolts out the door. He's determined to go home, find a missing package, and complete the job Rincon gave him. Shortly after Jester leaves, another powerful gangster, Spider, arrives at Rincon's place. Spider was the one waiting for the package. With a lot of money on the line, Spider demands answers, and he wants to know where the package is. Meanwhile, Lucas sneaks back into his house with a friend's help. He rushes to his room, finds a missing package under the bed, and grabs Miguel, ready to leave immediately. But just as they're about to go, the friend betrays them by tipping off Jester. Minutes later, Jester and his crew show up, capturing Lucas and taking him straight to Rincon. Elsewhere, Daniel learns that his father-in-law was brutally beaten by Jester's men as a warning for helping Lucas. That's the last straw. Knowing the gang won't back down, Daniel decides it's time to fight back. His ex-wife begs him not to go, calling it a stupid idea, but Daniel is determined. He's heading straight to Rincon's compound. At the same time, Lucas and Miguel are being hauled away by Jester's crew, exactly as Rincon ordered, on their way to the gang's headquarters. Back at the wedding, the party is still going strong, but the mood shifts quickly. Spider walks into the kitchen and starts harassing a woman there. Before things escalate, Rincon steps in. He glares at Spider, loses his temper, and kills him on the spot. Meanwhile, Daniel makes his move. He sneaks through a narrow alley near Rincon's place and runs into several guards. Outnumbered, he struggles at first, but his soldier training kicks in. He knocks one guard out and captures another. Knowing the FBI is watching closely, Daniel uses the captured guard as bait to draw them in. The plan works perfectly. Soon, the FBI launches a raid on Rincon's house. A massive shootout erupts between the federal agents and Rincon's men. Bullets fly everywhere, and casualties fall on both sides. Amid the chaos, Rincon's younger sister, the same one he was trying to protect, gets hit by a stray bullet. She collapses at her own wedding, and Rincon stands frozen in shock as she falls before him. Meanwhile, Daniel leads Lucas and Miguel away from the destruction. They run through smoke and debris until they reach the railroad tracks. Just when they think they're safe, Jester catches up and opens fire. Daniel takes a bullet in the leg while shielding the boys. Lucas grabs Miguel and keeps running, but Jester corners them, gun aimed. Just as all hope seems lost, Rincon arrives. He stops Jester from shooting and looks at Lucas with deep disappointment. After all the trust, loyalty, and family-like bonds, Rincon feels betrayed. Yet despite the hurt, he lets Lucas and Miguel go. This infuriates Jester that he calls Rincon weak and accuses him of losing control. What stings even more is that Jester isn't just any soldier, he's Rincon's own family. Driven by jealousy and rage, Jester shoots Rincon. Rincon falls, bleeding on the tracks. Jester then aims at the boys, ready to finish them off. But before he can pull the trigger, Daniel limps forward and offers Jester a package to buy time. Jester tears it open, expecting money, but it's fake. Realizing he's been tricked, Jester attacks Daniel. Suddenly, a single gunshot rings out. Jester drops dead. The shooter is revealed to be Lucas's friend, the same one who betrayed him before. In a surprising twist, he returns to make things right. In the final scene, Lucas and Miguel ride a train, watching the city fade behind them. They're leaving the only life they've ever known. As they settle in, Miguel finds some cash in his pocket. It's from Daniel, a last gift, offering them hope for a fresh start. So the moral of the story is, make sure your little brother always hides extra fruit in his pockets, because who knows, it might distract the bad guys long enough for you to hop on a train and ride off into a totally happy ending.